How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about yesterday's Premier League meeting because clubs have unanimously voted to return to training this week. We're also going to be talking about Chelsea's Callum Hudson-Odoi because he was arrested over the weekend. And the last piece of news, we're going to go to Scotland because Celtic have been crowned champions.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start was that Premier League meeting yesterday. And as expected, it was a unanimous vote. But clubs are allowed to go back to training this week. There are safety measures in place and it does only mean small groups. But it's a little foot in the right direction to the Premier League returning. Now, Premier League clubs have unanimously voted in favour of resuming training in small groups from today, with a return to top flight football edging closer. League officials, medical experts and representatives from all 20 sides held talks on Monday via a video conference call and agreed to stage one of the return to training protocols. Stage one enables squads to train whilst maintaining social distancing, but contact training is not yet permitted. Premier League Chief Executive Richard Masters says that they expect to have the first batch of COVID-19 test results by 2 p.m. today, and training can start to begin once that happens. He also stated there remains flexibility over the league resuming on June the 12th, and players' fitness levels will be taken into consideration when that decision is made. I think once you know when you can start full contact training, and when we have had a proper discussion about clubs over how much is required to create the fitness levels before they can start playing, you are then in a position to confirm the season start date, he said. We haven't changed the start date. We have to be flexible about it. What we don't want to do is continually move the start date. So we haven't changed it, but we need to be flexible and acknowledge we're in a step-by-step process. So it's pretty straightforward stuff. And I said in yesterday's show that I felt that this would get the go-ahead. It's pretty obvious. And, you know, clubs are starting to make those slow baby steps back into normality. There's no contact, you know, within the training. It's going to be small groups, and from what I'm gathering, it will be, you know, selected players at selected times throughout the course of the day. But it gives them a chance to get out of their house from their back gardens and to do some proper training, and to, you know, try and get themselves up to speed. It's going to be really, really difficult. When I was looking at the Bundesliga games over the course of the weekend, despite some good performances, you know, Munich and Dortmund, there was that little bit of non-intensity about the games. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to have to take time. And of course, by the time, you know, the Premiership gets playing, it's going to be about 3 months since they've kicked a ball, whereas the Bundesliga was about 8 weeks. So it's going to be a difficult one. And of course, we do need to see the infection rate come down. We need to see the virus deaths come down and everything else. And hopefully there's no second waves. And most importantly here as well is that we can't have any players testing positive for coronavirus. They're going to get tested regular. And the last thing we need to see is one of those come back positive, because then it could throw everything in the air. What happens to those respective clubs if they've already started training and they've been around someone that hasn't got the symptoms but then test positive? Do they all go into quarantine, lockdown? It's like one step forward, 2 steps back, as I keep saying. But hopefully, fingers crossed, none of that happens. Everybody can be negative. And we can move forward and start getting the plans together to start Premier League football again. Next piece of news, and it's not great news, and that's Chelsea's Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, of course, at the beginning of the lockdown and everything, he actually had the coronavirus. So he, of all people, you would expect to be a little bit more sensible and to understand the guidelines and everything. But I'm afraid not. And what I will say before I get into this story is innocent until proven guilty, first and foremost. And I really hope that this doesn't, end up being true, because this could, or will, shall I say, ruin his career. It'll completely and utterly finish it. But Chelsea and England winger Callum Hudson-Odoi was arrested on suspicion of rape in the early hours of Sunday morning. Police and an ambulance crew were called to an address in London at 3:53 a.m. to a report of an unwell woman. When emergency services attended, a woman reported that she was raped and she was taken to hospital. Hudson-Odoi was arrested at the scene and has since been released from custody. He has been bailed to return on a date in mid-June as inquiries continue. Chelsea have declined to comment. Hudson-Odoi, who has 3 England caps and in September signed a new 5-year contract with Chelsea, was the first Premier League player to test positive for coronavirus. He made a full recovery and, like other Chelsea players, is waiting to return to training before any proposed restart to the season. Some reports have suggested the woman involved visited Hudson-Odoi from another address. Lockdown rules specify that only one person from each household may meet as long as they remain outdoors and keep 2 meters apart. So looking at the story that's being, touted around about this is, he met the lady online, invited her around to his penthouse, and this is where obviously the allegation has been made. And like I keep saying, and I will stress, innocent until proven guilty. I don't really want to say much more than that. All I can say is, for his benefit, is that I pray to God this is not true. Such a brilliant young talent. Seen him many times myself when he's played against Arsenal. 19 years old, and he could literally throw away his career if this is true. And like I said, innocent till proven guilty. And we will just wait and see now. The police will obviously do their investigating. We'll find out in mid-June as to what happens. But if he gets charged, then I feel that could well be it. His career is over. And at only 19 years old, he's a silly, silly boy. And even if this transpires that, he's innocent, mud sticks, first and foremost. And the one thing we need to look at and say that he is guilty of is breaking the lockdown rules. Now, for somebody that's actually had coronavirus, he should know a hell of a lot better. And it seems to be a lot more lately that Premier League footballers are flouting the rules, shall we say. And it's not a good look. And no doubt Chelsea are comment in due course. And they'll let the police do their inquiries. And then we will wait and see what actually happens. But like I keep stressing, innocent until proven guilty. So yeah, that's not a great piece of news, but we'll wait and find out what happens. Last piece of news involves Celtic and the Scottish Premier League, because they've decided to finish their season and Celtic have been named champions. A 9th consecutive title. They were 13 points clear of Rangers. But Celtic have been crowned Scottish Premier League champions for the 9th successive season after the SPFL opted to curtail the current campaign. It also means that Hearts are relegated to the Championship for a second time since 2014. The SPFL held a board meeting on Monday morning where they decided to bring the season to an end, meaning a 51st league title for Celtic. As with the Championship, League 1 and League 2, final season placings in the Premiership have been determined by points per game in league matches played to March the 13th by each club. Neil Lennon's side held a 13-point lead over Rangers when the season was suspended, having played 1 game more. So yeah, look, listen, it seems to be that everywhere is taking this route. The Scottish League now, League 1, League 2, and it seems to be possibly the Championship and most definitely the Premier League that are looking to finish off their seasons. Of course, that's where the money is. And maybe that's the main reason why they are getting those leagues finished and over the line. But yeah, everyone else is pretty much saying, look, done, dusted. Let's just regroup. Let's just get everything back to normal and let's start again in August, September. And there's not too much controversy around this. They're 13 points clear. I suppose you can look at the Hearts situation because they're, 4 points off safety. So it's a bit harsh on them, but it is what it is. And they're just going to have to deal with it. I don't know what Hearts are going to do about it, whether they're going to appeal. I don't know what they're going to actually get out of appealing. It's one of those situations. We're in an unprecedented time, and I think they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. So it's a bit unfortunate. But there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. I'll see you lot tomorrow. I'm out of here.